Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today on the podcast, I am speaking with Gladys Simen. Gladys is hilarious. We have so much laughter during this episode, but she is also really inspirational. She talks about how she used to be invisible, constantly comparing herself against everybody else, until one day she decided enough was enough and she would be her whole authentic self, and the steps that she took to do that and the courage that it took. Gladys is a life coach for moms who are trying to balance their work and family life. She is a life enthusiast and has lived in 5 different countries, mastered 2 languages, and changed professions several times. She used to be a quiet introvert and now is passionate about helping women live big, beautiful, shooting for the stars kind of lives right now. This interview is a great one, and it was really, really fun to record. I can't wait for you to meet Gladys. Dive on in. My name is Katie Allen, and this is Self-Love Ignited. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Self-Love Ignited. Today on the podcast, I am interviewing Gladys Simen. Gladys, I'm really excited to have you here with me today. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody?
Well, thank you, Katie. I'm super excited to be there as well today. So my name is Gladys. And I typically talk about myself in 3 big label, if you want. So first of all, I'm a mom. I'm a mom to a fabulous duo. So a little man and a mini diva. And they keep me alert and bring that inner child out of me so I can see the world through their eyes. So it's a full-time job, I have to say. Then I'm a consultant for a Fortune 500 company. So it's really like a software service. I won't bore people. So anyway, I'm selling things. And then I'm also a coach to working mamas, working mothers out there. So usually accompanying them into their journey in finding what superpower them. So the hidden talent or anything that they didn't want, they didn't know they had. So if you think about the consultant part and the coach part, it's really the same thing almost, because you're meeting people at their point of need and power them up so they can go and conquer whatever world they want to. So that's me in a nutshell.
I love that description of coaching and consulting, and it really is true, isn't it? It's like you have a need, where are you? And let's get you where you want to be. Let's take that leap.
That's why I do literally 24/7. Even as a mom, you have to coach and consult all the time. I have to assure you. For the mothers listening to us, you know what I'm talking about, right?
So Gladys, this podcast is all about self-love, really, and our inner relationships, and telling stories of women just like you who have come from a place of not liking, not loving, not honoring parts of themselves, to really deeply connecting and loving and accepting all that they are, and sort of telling the story of that journey, bridging that gap. So I would love to hear your story. Where did your challenges with yourself begin?
Oh boy.
Big question, right? Big question.
I was just going to say, not only is a big question, but it's also an important question. I think typically people associate women with not being satisfied with something. But I would say my relationship with my body, I think like the majority of us, I wanted to be taller, and maybe those that are taller want to be smaller, but there was something I wanted, and for me was taller, slimmer, and have my curly hair straighter. And I attribute that into the lack of role model that looked like me growing up. So of course I had my mom and my auntie, but people that I could identify to, young like me, I didn't have people proudly saying, hey, I'm curvy and my hair is wavy and it's cool. So it was, I struggled with that for a long time. I kept my head straight. I was making sure that I was the person that was taking the less space so people would not notice me. And funnily enough, I started having curve quite late in my 20s. And I was gangy, long, skinny, teen.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I was not satisfied. I was like, I want a little bit more curve. And I was just like looking like a stick. So I don't think I was ever satisfied when I was growing up about what I looked like. And I was like mostly saying, there's some good part, but yeah, this could be improved and this could be better. And so growing up, I was skinny and I didn't like it. Then I started having curve and I didn't like it. And you think, difficult person to please here, right? I think my body was like telling me that. So that was my relationship. And I attribute that with hindsight, the role of the lack of role model that looked like me, because as you grow, you identify to role model and people that I was looking at, watching on television, reading about, they didn't look like me and I wanted to be them, right?
Yeah. And I think so many women are going to be listening to you and going, yep. Like in our own way, everybody is unique, but in our own way, I would say 99% of women have been in your shoes, right? Like it's so common. And I just, let's hope for the next generation it doesn't continue to be, please.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, good thing come in small packages for those of us that want to be taller. So I learned that small packages, that's so cute. Okay.
Absolutely.
And also it's not bad to be different.
Yeah. So how did you
different is good.
How did you get to that lesson? How did you go from being that girl who was skinny and unhappy and then curvy and unhappy and not seeing yourself represented to being like, I'm short. That's cool. This is me. I'm proud of who I am. How did you do that? Because that's a big switch.
Well, I want to say it was simple, but it wasn't. And I want to say I woke up one day and I felt like that, but it's not true, right? It's a gradual process, I guess. But it's mainly having hard conversations with myself. I think this is, for me, that was the hard part. That was the aha moment, thinking, man, it's all about me. So, I told you about being the teenager and the young adult, and then I started working in corporate world, and I was wearing what I call now my uniform clothes. So no color, very beige. So I could not stand out, right? I was straightening my hair. And as a result, the way people were, underestimating me, ignoring me, was me realizing, well, maybe I'm not into the right environment. Maybe people don't value me. And I was double guessing every single thing. Maybe because I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not, the ramification were just like a lot, right? And then how, I was invisible. That's really what it is. And I'm a people person. I like the contact. And I also start realizing that outside of work, I was a different Gladys, right? My alter ego liked the color, like to talk with things. I was like smart and all these things. And at work, I was that invisible flower. So I had to take a good look at it and say, what's different? Why those two Gladys never meet?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that I'm considering, smart, sassy, brilliant, witty in one space, and the other space, nobody look at me, nobody, notice. And I'm not an attention seeker by any means, but what I'm saying, like, I was invisible. Hard conversation was what it took for me. I wanted to understand why. And that's a very powerful question to ask yourself. So it took hard conversation. Like I say, it was not gradual. For me, it was not easy. But I had to look at that person in the mirror and say, what's the common element into those two environments? And it was me. And what is it that I was giving power to in one environment and I wasn't giving power to in the other environment? And I realized that, I was trying to fit in people's expectation of who I was, what success was in one, and the other one, in the other environment, I was me. I was coming with, this is me. This is who you see. Yeah, let's get over it. This me, I'm not going to change. So those were the things that were glaring to me. And I decided to walk on that acceptance and that love and say, I'm the same Gladys. I probably have a split personality, but I'm the same Gladys all around, right?
Yeah. And I just want to say that noticing, like, first off, sort of being willing and brave enough to step back and notice and say, oh, I'm being two people, right? Like acknowledging that within yourself, and then having the ability to have that hard conversation and say, why do I feel the need to do this? But then you took it a step further and went, what am I going to do about it? Now that I know this, now that I can see this truth, what do I want to do about it? Am I content being invisible for half my life? Clearly you weren't, because you're sitting here with me today.
Definitely not.
But it takes a hell of a lot of courage to step up and say, I'm going to be I'm going to bring my whole self to the table.
Absolutely. And another thing I was going to say, acknowledgement is one thing, and then action is the other thing. But when you start acknowledging, it's the beginning of your healing process. And I know I'm paraphrasing like Alcoholic Anonymous, but the point, what I'm saying is like, the difference is in you. It starts with you. You are the common denominator in all the situations that you are in. So what can you do to get out of those situations, to get out of this? What can you take control back off? Because the way people treat you, the way people react to you, the way environment is set, I think you give that control. You tell people, this is the way I want to be treated. And they just listen to you. So for me, it was like, why can't I listen to myself? If other people listen and tell me, that's what you wanted to be invisible. And in my case, I was wearing clothes that were making me invisible. I was just trying to occupy the less possible space. And then people were listening to it and said, well, you wanted to be invisible, so I will treat you as invisible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you give that power. And then the day I said enough, I take that power back. And yes, I'll come to work with completely curly afro if I want to. All my locks that I'm wearing today, and still feel like it's still me. Yeah, I might have different hair, I might wear different clothes, but it's me.
Yeah. When you started doing that, when you started coming to work fully expressed as yourself and not settling for being invisible anymore, how did that affect your relationships? How did that affect the people around you?
I was gonna say first, or full disclaimer, when I started doing that, I was terrified. It was scary. I was like, it's almost like someone gets you out of your comfort zone and throw you there. And you like, I'm so used to not being seen, and then someone see me, it's just like, man, terrifying. So you guys, if you try this, do like small little dose, or be like me, just jump in the deep end and say, yeah, guess what? But I think what was more surprising is because I wasn't doing that for anybody else but me. I didn't want to prove a point to anybody else but myself. I had enough, like, when you have two alter ego, it's tiring to keep up with who does what, right? And you spend more money because you have two wardrobe, and I'm like, geez, I don't have time for this. I'm just gonna have one wardrobe and go. But more seriously, I wanted to be whole completely. And I because I started for me, it didn't matter what other people were thinking I was, or defining me, my success. It didn't matter at that time. I just wanted to be whole. But I start also realizing I have a voice, an opinion, and I can express it, right? And people start listening. And that was like, it's still amazing to me. And people start seeking my opinion and seeking, and I'm like, what? You're talking to me? Yeah. And then people said, I love the new Gladys. You're confident. You speak like you set the standard, you have high expectation. And till today, hearing people say nice thing about me, or calling me confident, calling me strong, calling me inspiring, it's just like, whoa, there's that little, the other Gladys that's fighting to come out, and that I said, not too late. I'm over. I'm taking over this, but it is humbling. And for me, realizing that I spent so long hiding, and all it took is just to take that little step, and then it impact my self-esteem, my confidence, my self-acceptance, a lot of those things that I don't even realize still. But jumping out of your comfort zone, like someone say, hey, can you do this? And I'm like, I'm scared out of my head, but I'm just gonna do it, because guess what? I survive more than this, right? So
yeah. I love that you talk about how you just did that one thing and you took that one little step, and it's like all these beautiful things that started happening, your self-esteem and your confidence, and like people actually
and it builds up.
Yeah. And it's like, it's all, I like to think of it like, it's almost like for your whole life up until then, you had all this proof that like you needed to hide because you didn't like quote unquote fit in, right? And you had to like be sort of quiet and be not seen. And as soon as you started being your real self, you started getting all this new evidence that like, this is good and this is safe and this feels better. And so
it feels natural. But because another thing I wanted to say is that when we born, we're not meant to be the wallflower against the wall. We're meant to occupy space, our space, right? And sometimes it takes one unkind comment, and I don't know about you or people listening to us. I think I tend to retain things that are unkind to me, and let things that are kind to me bounce back. And I'm sure it took just one person that defined what success was for on his or her term for me to say, well, that's not what I thought. And you're eager to do whatever it takes. And that's what society tells you. If you're not willing to do whatever it takes, then you're not ready for that next step. And you think, at what point am I losing myself in the pursuit of someone else's definition of success? Because if it matches your definition of success, cool, it's authentic, you love it, you're not going to feel like odd. But listen to yourself. If it feels icky, odd, it might not be your definition of whatever they ask you to do.
It might not be. Yes. And you and I have talked off camera before we started recording about how both of us are big risk takers, and we've both moved countries. You've done it more than once.
Oh God. And I'm thinking, if you can move countries and pack a lot of things. And I was telling Katie, I have boxes that I've never opened, but guess what is my Pandora box? I won't open them. But yes, they are things that I look back and take stock of that I did in the past that give me that confidence, that courage to go and do more steps. So I don't suggest you move countries just to find yourself, which it's good for countries, but do something out of your comfort zone a little bit. And you see how easy it is to push that comfort zone a little bit more every time.
Yes. And follow your own, like you just said, it's your own definition of success and your own definition of happiness and your own definition. And when we stop asking for permission from everybody and we start asking permission of ourselves.
Oh, no, I'm not even asking. I'm giving myself permission. Let's use words that resonate better.
Okay.
You ask permission from others, but you give yourself your permission. I'm not even asking. I'm like, hey, Gladys, we're going to do this together, right? I still talk to myself, guys. So try this. I think it's good. It sounds crazy, I know, but I promise you, I am one person inside of me, and I talk to myself. It's good.
It's good. It's
So
good.
good.
So Gladys, this beautiful journey that you have been on and continue to be on, right? Like it's never
Yes.
ending. It's always
Yep.
unfolding. Do you identify with the term self-love attached to this, or is there something else that feels more true for you?
I actually love self-love, if I
Mm-hmm.
can say that this way. But I also add things like self-acceptance, self-kindness, affection, any word that you give affection, love, embrace, make self in front of it. That's what I'm adding to that list, right? Self-forgiveness, self-kindness, self-acceptance, self-embrace. Any word that you give, whatever you give to other people, you can give back to you. And that permission that you're giving to you is putting self in front. So yes, I love self-love because it's all about loving you. Embrace yourself, give yourself, accept yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. I love your answer. That's great. It's love and love plus everything, all that good stuff.
Everything.
Yeah.
It's all about embracing your whole self, including what I call your opportunities, and other people say my flaws. Embrace everything.
Yeah.
That's self-love.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm not perfect, but I'm glad I'm not perfect, because otherwise people that love me will not have work to do with me because I'm too perfect, right? I don't need.
Yeah. Just the idea of even aiming for perfection, just the idea of that in myself sounds exhausting.
It is exhausting. It
Yeah.
is. It
Yeah.
is exhausting. I'm sure there are perfect people out there. I haven't met them. So if you're perfect and you're listening, please contact me. I want to ask some questions. But knowing that, perfection, it's an unattainable goal.
Mhm.
I made peace with it, and I said, I'm not wanting to be perfect. I want to be good.
Yeah.
I want to be kind.
Yeah.
I want to be accepting,
Yeah.
right? This you can do every day. You can wake
Yes.
up and start being kind.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is that simple. It is a choice. And sometimes you have to choose it, 1,000 times in a day, but
Oh, yeah.
you do get to choose it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish we can just have a magic wand and say, go forth and be kind.
I know. Again, if that exists, please
Yeah.
let us know.
Please contact
Like,
us. I
yeah.
think Kate and I would really want to talk to you. So if
Please.
you're perfect and you have that magic wand, or you have the magic wand, just yeah, it's tiring, it's unattainable.
Yeah.
And frankly, if you are with Mr. or Mrs. Perfect, it's boring. Like this, you
Yeah.
can't relate to them. They're just too perfect. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. So Gladys, I would love to hear, how has this beautiful journey that you've been on of really like coming back to yourself, how did this lead you into the work that you do as a coach?
Is experience. Experience is the sum of all the mistakes that we've done in the past. But I wanted to say that I can, when I'm having my client that are having self-esteem and self-love deficit, I can relate to that. I can share things that I have done in my own journey, and then I can make them, or I let them know that they're not alone. It is a continuous journey, as we say. So it made me wanted to share, because I think for the longest time I felt I was alone. I never talked to anybody about it, and I thought that it must be me that doesn't fit into this, and everybody else seems happy. And the key word is seems, right?
Mhm.
And when you start saying, I'm not sure I'm happy, oh, you have a good job, you're healthy, you have this, like people talk you out of listening to yourself, right? So I know this journey, and making me being at that point where I felt like, oh my God, I start loving and feel you just want to share, because you fill yourself with so much love. so much kindness, so much acceptance, so much forgiveness. Hey, it's full and it has to spill out. And guess who's spilling out on? Other people. So I wanted to share. It made me feel more confident and comfortable in using my voice to amplify the message, to help out other women and working mom that might need. And you notice I never say empower, because you're already powerful. But I'm saying I'm considering my client and my coaching practice, it's a couch. So consider coming and sitting on a couch that is the perfect fabric and color for you, and being comfortable with your, someone that cares for you. And I consider us working women as like a very expensive smartphone, having multiple applications running behind the scene, right? And giving value every time someone holds your phone. Hey, where's my mitten? It's on the top shelf on the third corner or something. Yeah, everything. Yeah. Your mom, right?
Yeah.
But if you do not take time to charge yourself, that smartphone dies. And it becomes a very expensive paperweight. Not pretty, but expensive, and it's dead. So I would say he kind of gave me the courage, the confidence, and the bravery to tell people you need to think about charging yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what self-love, knowing that I can tell anyone your definition of success is yours. There's nothing good or bad because it's yours. And amplifying that message, this is what he gave me. Because you would have told me, I'll be the person talking to a group of people, presenting about things. I'll be like, nah. Remember, I was that invisible wall girl.
Yeah.
Taking so little space.
Yeah.
And then today, helping people to, blossom.
That's
it. And tell them, hey, you have a space. Where's your space? I don't see you.
Yeah.
Come here.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So do you work with people one-on-one? Do you do groups? What does that look like at the moment?
So at the moment, I do have some limited group. I love my one-on-one more. So I focus on that, mainly because, there's no one recipe that you say, hey, but by working on one-on-one, I can share what makes you unique, what makes you different, what's your magic sauce. And it's more comfortable. Hey, when you come and see a girlfriend and you have like your favorite beverage and you sit on the couch, we talk, right?
Yeah.
In a group, yes, everybody talks, but there's still that comfort that the one-on-one. So I do both. I have limited group running because my preference is to help people blossom in a very, intimate capacity.
Beautiful. I love that answer. That's so good. Okay. So Gladys, if there's somebody listening and maybe they are where you used to be, maybe they, in listening to you, are recognizing like, oh, damn, I am invisible in half my life, or I've split myself, or I'm not fully expressing myself. Is there like a step or an exercise, or is there something you would recommend to help them begin?
Blossom.
Yeah.
So first of all, if you're listening and you feel invisible, I'm giving you a big virtual hug. Because we see you, right? The second thing I was gonna say is, have those conversations, look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I can't do this alone, I need help. And help can be someone you trust, people that love and encourage you on a daily basis. It could be coming and see a coach like myself, but it could be you giving yourself permission to get out of that rut and that comfort zone you are in. So get help. The second thing, the things that are more practical, and this is part of my own, daily routine in, like Katie said, it's a daily choice. Every day you make that choice because it's almost like a garden. If you do not tend to your garden, you have all those like wild herbs that come in. So you have to tend to that. So some of the things that I do every day is, daily affirmation and gratitude. So I'm grateful for my looks, my body. It gave me 2 kids. So I'm like super grateful for how resilient and strong. I'm rarely ill, so I'm knocking on wood. So it's really so it's my duty to look after it as well. So I'm grateful every day saying, hey, I won't say what I say, but it's almost like, hey, I'm Queen G kind of thing. But whatever works for you. So daily affirmation.
Yep.
Nourish your body. I also say that good food, and it may be just me, but I think when I don't put the right good food in my body, I feel crap. Like, I love my junk food, don't get me wrong, but everything in moderation. And I won't recommend only eat, I don't know, boring food or whatever. Yeah, eat what makes you happy, but moderation, because move that gorgeous body of yours. Because yes, that body is gorgeous. For me, it's all about, movement. Could be exercise, Pilates, music. If you have a good playlist, put it off, blast it off, sing on top of your voice. Nobody will hear because the music is loud.
Yeah.
Move. And sometimes that dopamine, adrenaline comes and you feel like, yes. But I was going to say this toxic relationship, those things that take those hard conversations about what drains me and what fuels me, right? And do more of what fuels you and get rid of what drains you. And one of the things I'm talking to one of my clients this week about is toxic relationship. And you don't realize that, but it drains and it drains and it drains because you give and you give and you give, right?
Yeah.
But most importantly, you're not invisible. You are standing on your own way to claim that space, to blossom. Celebrate yourself. Even tiny little victories, celebrate yourself. So summary, do more of what you like, find out what drains you, seek help, and here's a virtual hug, right? You're there.
I love it. Okay. Amazing. Gladys, we're going to leave it there because I don't think we could finish on a better note.
But this is my advice to whoever is listening. Be good to yourself, right? Be good to yourself. You are so special. You are so unique. You're so talented. Let the world know about you. Because by staying in your little corner, nobody knows. We need to. You are there for a reason. Yeah. Let's find out together, right?
Yeah. We need you. The world needs you. The world needs all of us. Yeah. Okay, Gladys, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your beautiful self with all of us. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody else and you too, Katie. You are such a beautiful soul. And every time I'm seeing you, I have that good energy coming. So if you guys are thinking of sharing your story of self-love, come to Katie's podcast. She's amazing. She's adorable and she makes you laugh. So I think it's a good combination to come and tell your story. And remember, I was the one that would not be on the podcast because I was invisible. So Katie has that magic wand
we see
were talking about earlier.
We see you now. All right. Thanks, Gladys.
Thank you for having me.
All of the links mentioned during the episode are down in the show notes. Please make sure to go on over and check them out. Also, please remember to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, and I would be forever grateful if you would go on over and leave us a review on iTunes as well. That's going to help this message reach more women. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Here is to you loving yourself.